Today, we're going to talk about someone who's looking to retire in 5 years. He's done an excellent job saving and has a significant net worth, but he wants to make sure that he'll have the income he desires with complete peace of mind, and he can continue to grow his net worth and leave a large legacy to his family and future generations. So to get on into it, he's currently 60 years old. He has a net worth of $6 million presently. However, he'd like to leave at least $20 million when he dies, somewhere between the age of 85 and 95. And the question is, how can I do this without risk? Because he's met wealth managers and financial planners, and they show him these fancy strategies, but they're not for him. He does not want to take on market risk. He never has. How he has accumulated the net worth to this point is through consistent saving. His goals are as follows. He wants to look at models that show him how he can retire at age 65. He'd like his total income starting at 65 to be between $150,000 and $200,000 per year, but also account for the fact that life tends to cost more every day, so he might need to make that number higher. He'd like to grow his net worth during retirement, and he'd like to leave a legacy. With those goals, he wants to know, how can I continue to get the income that I want and see my net worth continue to go up? Because if I just take $6 million and put a conservative 4% return on that, that gives me enough income. You can just take $6 million, 0.04, $240,000 per year. But then his net worth doesn't grow that much. And I know you could argue, well, you can easily earn more than 4%. He asked for all of the models to be run with a 3 to 4% assumption because he is about as conservative as they come, which I actually like. Because if you're going to look at any type of model, if it works with conservative assumptions, imagine how much better it's going to look if you do better than those conservative assumptions. It's going to look fantastic. Where people get upset is when they think they're going to earn these high returns and then they don't, and now they got to adjust their plan. He's done a great job saving money. That $6 million net worth, by the way, does not include his real estate. That's just his liquid net worth, if you want to call it that. He is well diversified between taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free assets. But from an asset accumulation perspective, with what he wants to do, specifically passing money on to the next generation, looking at his tax-deferred accounts, it might make sense to start moving some money out of the tax-deferred areas over to either taxable or tax-free when we look at it. Just because if I pass and I have a $1 million 401k and that goes to the next generation, when my kids receive that, they're not going to get the full $1 million. Remember, no income tax at all has been paid on that 401k balance, so they're going to have to pay income tax when they take that money, whether it's a lump sum or if they stretch it out over as long as they can. My point is, if I want to leave a legacy, that's typically not the most efficient way to do it. Tax-deferred money, that is. The projections we're going to look at are as follows. We'll look at assumed growth rates between 3 to 4%, which again is extremely conservative, and we'll assume that he continues to contribute toward his different accounts in the exact same manner he has from now until 65. So let's take a look at the model, and this is a simplified model that we had put together. I had a lot of fun working on this. So first, we've got his taxable accounts, and this consists of many different types of accounts he has, money market funds, brokerage accounts, and a lot more. He's contributing about $275,000 per year. He currently has $3.2 million there. So we see what it looks like with those contributions and also assuming a 4% annual return, which if we wanted to make that more conservative, we easily could. So taxable accounts, there we go. Tax-deferred accounts, he's at $2.3 million and change, contributing a total of just about $130,000 annually, and then also tax-free. Now, with the tax-free contributions, what this is down here is money that we assumed he continues to fund his life insurance policy with, but he does not have to do that. However, with what he's got going on, it makes a lot of sense to do that. So he might continue just to feed that policy in order to grow the cash value and grow the eventual long-term death benefit. The value represents the combined tax-free assets that he has, his cash value life insurance policy, and Roth accounts. And the death benefit represents just the life insurance death benefit that he currently has. So if we add everything up, we see his living net worth and then also his legacy. And why that legacy is so much larger is because we're adding another $6.75 million there. You won't see it's just this plus 6.75 because I did have to back out the cash value for the legacy piece, meaning when you pass, the net death benefit is paid out. It's not the death benefit and the cash value. Whenever you look at a life insurance policy, whatever you see on the death benefit side of the illustration, that is the net dollar amount that is paid to your beneficiaries. Anyway, here's his current net worth. All right, cool. We see it going up over time, and he's 60 now. So in 25 years, he'll be 85. He'll have about a $24 million net worth, assuming a 4% rate of return. And at 90, he'll be close to 30 million. But that assumes he never touches any of his assets and doesn't use anything to produce income, which he is going to use some of the assets to produce the target income that is. Let's talk about the income. For the income, the first thing I always like to start with is what can we count on? He's got Social Security. At age 65, it'll be $41,000 and change. His wife will see just about $22,000 per year. And then he also has a pension from his company that'll pay him $74,000 per year. And that is a joint life pension figure that we see here. We did look at the single life, but he prefers the joint life. So when we look at the total fixed income that does not come from any of his assets, it's almost $140,000. He is in a great position because remember, his target income is $150,000 to $200,000. More accounting for inflation, but he's out of the gates here strong. So here's what we looked at. We looked at different annuities, specifically annuities with guaranteed income provisions. What we looked at in terms of funding these annuities was a lot of things, but what he liked was one, transferring a very old variable annuity that he has, and then two old rollover IRAs. So the annuities themselves are guaranteed, based on the illustrations we ran, to produce the following. His variable annuity is a $550,000 dollar amount. If he starts it now, at 65, it's guaranteed to pay him about $58,000 per year. The second annuity will be funded with an IRA of about $480,000. And at 65, that's guaranteed to pay a little bit more than $50,000 per year. And then his wife has an IRA with about $310,000, and that'll pay just over $37,000 per year. So if you look at the annuity income, when you combine it at age 65, his age of 65, about 5 years from now, it's almost $146,000 per year. And this is in addition to the fixed income that he has from Social Security and his pension. So before we get into the combined income and the actual model, let's just walk through how the annuities work and how they affect his assets. Because if we're going to take money from the non-qualified annuity, which is a taxable asset, and then the two IRAs, that's a tax-deferred asset, we want to make sure that we account for that in the accumulation model, because we're taking money out that we're going to see that balance shrink over time once we start to take income. So the income charts, let's start here so you can see how they work. With his variable annuity, he's looking to transfer that to a nationwide product. So there's the $550,000 transfer. And here's how it works. If he wanted to take income right away, he could, and it would pay him $29,440 per year for the rest of his life. And it could be paid over 12 months if he wanted to do it that way. His plan, however, is to wait until 65. And if he does, there's the guaranteed income. He knows what that is today at the time of starting the annuity. If he says, hey, Steve, I ended up working another couple years. I don't need to take it until I'm 67. Well, then he's guaranteed to receive about $70,000 per year. The longer you wait, the higher the guaranteed income is, and you know what it is up front. That's a big reason a lot of people like these types of annuities. So that's the first one. Here's his IRA, and then here's his wife's IRA rollover. And Nationwide was the strongest across the board as we looked at a lot of different companies, but he's very, very big into large A+ rated companies, and Nationwide does have a very strong annuity product, which is why we looked at them. So there we go. How does this affect his overall net worth? Here's what we put together. So starting with the taxable assets, that variable annuity is a non-qualified annuity, meaning he originally funded it with cash, not from an old IRA or 401k. So what we've got here are distributions coming out from the annuity at his age of 65. Why they stop down here is not because that's when the income stops. The income is guaranteed to last forever. However, the annuity has an account balance. What we assumed here is that the account balance is $550K, and we assumed a 0% return. And as he takes income, that $550 comes down and eventually is zero. Now, the chances are very, very likely that it will earn a little bit more than 0%, but we just threw 0% into the annuity equation to keep things super conservative. And if he were to pass, for example, say 10 years into this, when he has not drained the annuity balance, meaning there's still something left, the balance would be paid to his beneficiary, meaning we're not going with a setup where the insurance company keeps your money when you die like that. That is not something I'm a fan of, nor would I recommend. Okay, so that's the non-qualified annuity. 2 IRAs, that's why it's under tax deferred. That's the income for both of those combined. And then tax-free, there's no annuity here. We're not looking to transfer a Roth into an annuity or anything like that. That will impact his net worth. If we go down to year 25, which is when he will be 85, remember, it was $23 million in change in the last example. Here, it's not, because we're using those current assets to purchase annuities to guarantee him income, but eventually those assets that are being used to fund the annuities, the balance will go down to zero as he gets income forever, which will impact the net worth here. But at 85, he's still north of 20 million with a 4% assumption here. And if we go down to 90, which is really what he liked to look at, there you go, 24 million. And at his passing, about 26 million, which is still nice with a large chunk of that being tax-free. Okay, so let's continue on here. Let's look at the income model. But first, what do we hit on up here? We had the fixed income, 137 and change. The annuity income, about 146. Combine that, he's at $283,000 with certainty, if I might add. And why I say that, he feels he can count on these, Social Security and his pension. He can count on the annuities, And when you add it all up, 283, it's peace of mind. Like you don't have to worry about any type of management. You just get those checks month over month. Now he did mention that the income he wanted was between 150,000 and 200,000, at least for now. So if 283 is excessive, there's a lot of things he can do. And we talked about this quite a bit. One, he can take excess income and continue to feed the life insurance policy. That will accelerate the cash value faster, and it'll accelerate the death benefit, which is paid income tax-free to his beneficiaries. So he could do that from a legacy standpoint. That'll push the numbers up higher. He could invest it in other areas if he wanted to. Maybe he wants to take on some risk with that excess income, or he could gift it or donate it. That's not uncommon at all. And a lot of people get the most joy out of that as well. So let's take a look at the model itself. We're going to look at everything here. Income and assets. This will be fun to go through. We started this in 2025. I know you're watching this in 2026. He's 60. His wife is 65. The W-2 income is high. It's at $650K per year, which is how he's been able to save so much money every year, by the way. At retirement, Social Security for his wife, and also his pension income. There we go. The annuities. There's the variable annuity, number one. There's his IRA annuity, and then there is his wife's IRA annuity. When you add everything together, there's the total income. So we can just see it line by line. Now, sometimes people have questions about Social Security and such. What if I want to take it earlier, later, all that good stuff? So what we'll do is work with them on getting the numbers and then usually provide more models than what you see here. This is just a simplified version of really what we narrowed things down to toward the end. So there's the income. Looks fantastic, gives him more than what he wants. And then we also have his net worth. So now we can see everything in motion. And this, by the way, is pulled from the figures we looked at on this chart. So as we scroll down here, now we can see his age, 85, in the year 2050. So in 2050, if we look at this, what's his living net worth? $21 million and change. At death, $23 million and change. If he makes it a bit longer, let's go to 90, shall we? He used some AI to predict when he might pass, and he's looking at 92 years old, but we're going to look at round numbers in this video. So in 2055, when he's 90, living net worth, $25 million and change, and legacy, including the life insurance proceeds, 26 and change, almost 27. This stuff is fun, isn't it? I have an absolute blast putting this together. It's like one of the things I enjoy the most. In summary, when we look at the retirement strategy, his goal was to have $150,000 to $200,000 per year. The income achieved without any risk and complete peace of mind, in my opinion, is north of $280,000, which really gives him protection against inflation. Another goal was to see his net worth increase without the need for management, meaning he doesn't want to have to look at statements every year as he gets older. He's like, I just want this to be conservative, and if I run this model at 3 or 4%, like I'm going to sleep at night with never even looking at the thing, which he can easily do. So here's the legacy that'll be passed to his family. If he makes it until 85, while he's alive, it's north of $21 million, and the amount passed is $23 million and change. At 90, living net worth, $25 million and change, legacy, 26 and change, and if he makes it to 95, you're really up there when you look at the dollar amounts. Why so big? Right? This is a question a lot of people have. Like, what do you need with that much money going to the next generation or future generations? Well, one of the things he said was that he wanted to be the starting point for his family to create lasting wealth from generation to generation. One of the things that he'll likely do is establish a trust, and how it will work is when he passes, the assets do not go directly to his kids and grandkids. Instead, they're paid to the trust. And then the trust specifies who can use the money, what the money can be used for, and when the money can be used. Who, what, and when. He can also name board members and individuals that will be able to control exactly what happens with the money. For example, if a grandchild who is 25 years old, they've grown up, they want to take $300,000 that they have access to, but before they can just go in and access the money, the board, different named individuals, need to agree on what that 25-year-old is using the money for. That prevents someone from going out and blowing it on a Ferrari or something like that. My point is, establishing a trust helps ensure that the money continues to grow as he wants it to grow. This way, when he eventually passes, because he would say, no, you can't use it for this. That's not responsible. Here's the kind of things you should do. Like if he's there, things will continue to grow. If he's not there, he just wants to know that things will continue to grow. And that's where the trust planning comes into play, which on that point, I don't write trusts. However, in working with a lot of people who have them and sitting in meetings with tax attorneys, some of which are very, very good, and just seeing what the attorneys put together for clients, what attorneys have put together for me, what I usually like to do is help people come up with different ideas and say, here's what others do. But it does give them a nice starting point, which helps them narrow things down and set up a plan that everyone likes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know your thoughts below. And as always, I hope this helps.